Well, that worked. So, see if that hits the line. We are talking about how the hands come into the golf ball, Adam, and how this relates to the quality of golf shots. Now, that one there was obviously somewhat close to where we wanted it to be, and you're holding that noodle there for a reason, and that was to essentially fix some of the issues that I was just having with my ball striking, wasn't it? So that feeling of you having that noodle closer to my hands, what did that rectify for the players at home so they have a better understanding of a drill that they can use to improve their hands into the golf ball?
Yeah, so you had a few heel shots close to the heel, and so by placing the noodle here, I'm giving you a cue to stop the hands creeping out too far towards me. Because when the hands enter too close to me, that's going to result in more of a heel contact.
Yeah.
So yeah, by placing that object there, I tell people, imagine there's a table here, a tabletop right by your hands, and you don't want to hit the tabletop with your hands, especially if you're a heel striker.
Yeah. And feedback drills such as this are so valuable to the players because they can almost coach themselves as such. And you can get an alignment rod and a pool noodle like this, guys, and just hang it off your golf bag a distance away from you. You don't need a Adam Young down at the range. But as Adam does that, even just the visual of it being there, something bright and big is perfect for this sort of thing because it almost tricks your brain into going, how am I going to avoid this as much as I can? And really, if you're striking the golf ball all over the club face, Adam, something exaggerated and in your face like that is a great tool to use, isn't it?
Yeah, you can just use it as a concept to change face strike, or you can use it as a concept to change path as well. So if you have certain patterns, just thinking about what the hands are doing as they're coming into the ball or even exiting impact can influence those impact variables.
Okay, so let's talk about from there. We just adjusted my strike from my heel more towards the center of the face by having the noodle in such a position where it felt like I needed to avoid it, right? Which then helped me strike it out of the center there. What is another position of that noodle that players could use to rectify a fault?
Yeah, so if you need to hit more towards the heel, so something that I feel, I'm a toe bias player, so I actually feel as if my hands do enter a little farther away from me. So almost as if there's more space between the hands and the thighs there. So you could go this way and feel as if you're keeping space there. And that will tend to create more of a heel pattern. Again, just as a visual.
Yeah, definitely felt it. So that would be for a player who was coming in and striking the ball too much off the toe.
Yes.
We can also use this for the club's delivery and the angle of it.
Yeah, so if you're suffering with fat or thin contacts, then you can use the visual of this. So say, for example, you're a thin player. Lots of thin players, what do? They kind of jump up, early extend. They're very tall and high at impact. And so that's going to relate to that thin contact. And so feeling or imagining as if the hands enter lower, closer to the ground through impact, that's going to, the closer they enter to the ground, the deeper a divot you're going to take effectively.
Yeah, and think about this in terms of bunker play. You want to get low and wide, and that's where the handle sits low, and that helps you hit the sand. So place that noodle, what feels the end of the noodle there, Adam, nice and low, so I have to avoid that one.
Yeah, so a little dangerous, but I trust you. I would be, here and just saying, right, hit this with your hands.
Okay, so on the end of it.
So feeling as if your hands enter nice and low, and then obviously as you hit the shot, I would kind of move out of the way.
You can stay there if you want.
And that's going to create a fatter contact, which is great if you're thinning it because you want to create the opposite feel.
And interesting to note there as well is hands were a lot lower. Definitely you can see it wasn't really as nice a shot. Ball curved more to the right. And that's because the lower that the hands go, the face is going to open a little bit more in that position. That's going to cause things to move in that direction. So for me, having that low is probably not the best thing. How do I get them higher?
How do you get your hands higher? I actually focus more on the exit for hand path with this. So say, for example, someone's hitting it fat a lot. I focus on how the hands exit and curve in the follow through. So what I'd want is, lots of people think that through the swing, the hands stay on this straight line forever, but they don't. They should actually curve back in through impact.
Yeah, for sure.
Just like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So the more the hands pull in through impact and curve back to the left, that will tend to make the strike a little bit more toey because the hands are pulling away from the ball, and they're also pulling away from the ground at this point, so it'll make it thinner as well.
Yeah.
So a great drill if you're hitting it fat.
So essentially you could move the end of the noodle a little bit further towards my body and higher, and I would get the feeling that my grip is almost going to hit that noodle in such a position.
Exactly, yeah. Imagine someone's behind you and you're hitting them with the back of your hand.
And that straight away felt so different through the golf ball there, a lot higher. So we've covered some of those there. Anything else that we need to?
I mean, if you really want to go in deep with this, you can focus on different hand path entries. And so say, for example, you have someone who has an in to out path and you want to make it less in to out. You could focus on the direction that the hands enter. Okay. So say, for example, you're hitting a big hook and we want to hit more of a fade. We could angle the noodle more this way. So you see your hands are entering more out to in. And that will produce a more left path.
For sure, and we see a lot of drills and exercises with alignment sticks behind, players trying to come over the top, come underneath, and that's usually always revolving around the club shaft. But by simply having this noodle in either direction, either behind or out in front, that can help change the path of the golf club, right?
Yeah, what I usually do, I'll get a spray can, again, a foot spray, and I'll spray on the ground the hand path that I want. So people, as they're looking down, they can trace that with their hands.
Have a visual of it.
Yeah, exactly. So if this were on the ground, you know, if I wanted to make a player more of a draw shot, I would angle that more inside, like this.
Yeah, perfect. And I can see my thumbs are almost tracing that from above as they come into the golf ball.
And then for more of a fade shot, we'd have it more like this.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, and then if we want to make it more heely, we have it farther away. If we want to make it more toey, we have it closer. So, I mean, there's a lot of combinations that you can do with it. So depending on the mix of variables I have with the player, there's a specific hand path that they'd want to feel more of.
Yeah, for sure. So how the hands come into the golf ball, guys, can really dictate the quality of your shot. And right here with Adam Young at Robo Golf in Las Vegas, we've just given you a selection of drills that you can use using a noodle. Nice, big, bright, and obvious. You can place in certain positions to adjust your strike to produce better shots. Thanks for watching this video. YouTube thinks that you would benefit from watching this one next. So click that card and it could be the tip that you need to take your game to the next level. I'll see you next time.